to Straight Outta Jersey. Today's podcast is brought to you by Ace Sunglasses. Go to acesunglasses.com.au to purchase some of the best shades around. Use promo code MRG30 and receive 30% off selected brands. That's
All right, guys, it's Wednesday, movie talk time. What's up, guys? We got a great show. We have our Superman premiere coming this Friday. All three of us will be there doing an out-of-theater reaction to the movie, so it's great. Can't wait for that. We had a kind of a sad week. We had a bunch of stars pass away last week, in a row, three of them. We're going to go over that, but let's introduce the team. I got my man, Dave, DC Callari. What's up, Dave?
How you doing, guys? Happy Wednesday.
Yep. And, of course, the screenwriter, Rob Alvarenga. What's up, Robbie?
Gentlemen, it's super week.
Yeah, here it is. Super week. super week, man. All right, so let's try to get the bad news out of the way first. We had a couple of deaths that happened over the last week that happened. First, we had Ken Colley, who played Admiral Piet from Star Wars. He passed away, I think at 70-something years old. And then we had Julian what's his name? McMahon. Julian Mcmahon. He passed away from cancer, which was pretty sad also. And then we had Michael Madsen, who passed away from Kill Bill. And actually, I got to meet Michael Madsen at the Chiller not too long ago, maybe about 2 years ago. He was an awesome guy, really quiet. Guys, those three guys, actors that die. Is there anything you guys know, favorite movie maybe by Michael Madsen, or maybe somebody that you know? Dave, maybe you want to start off with Michael Madsen.
So he's one of those guys who's just like a classic character actor, like someone you just knew, always in some good films. Obviously he had a little bit of a troubled past.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really need to go into, but it's just unfortunate. I'm sure he still had plenty of good work left in him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just as any of these, when any of these guys pass on, it's like we still have the stuff they left us, the films that they left us. So, I mean, I'm sure even most of them would say like, hey, as long as you guys can still enjoy what I worked on and put together while I was here, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, Kill Bill was great with him. Kill Bill, and then Donnie Brasco was a great role there. Great stuff. Robbie, you got anything to say about Madsen, and maybe we'll talk about Julian?
Yeah, Madsen. So for sure, Madsen. I mean, he was for me, he was really one of these cool characters. For me, I mean, I'm not saying that he played the same character all the time. He didn't. He had some nuance to it, but every time I saw him on screen, he was just always that cool croner with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he just had this like real like attitude, this like presence, really. That just you just gravitated to him. I think the first time I actually really got to see him on screen was with Species.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yes.
The one good Species movie, he had a lot to do with it. So he carried a lot of that film, to be quite honest, aside from the monster or whatever. So, but I was thinking about these guys that passed away, and Dave's right. These are people that they dedicated their lives to the work. So the biggest I guess tribute you could give to them is celebrate their work, their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Julian McMahon played Dr. Doom in the Fantastic Four, and he also was in the show Nip Tuck. I watched a little bit of that. These guys are sad. Admiral Piet, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. It was great.
He got tired of listening to bad Star Wars news, so checked himself out.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, but rest in peace. We wish the family's condolences. It's very hard disease.
One thing with Kenneth Colley, I was doing a little just backtracking to see what they were doing, and his movieography had a lot had a lot of BBC background to it. He was in a couple movies with that was made by Monty Python, for those that were into it and stuff like that. But with the character that he's celebrated for, Admiral Piet, I was reading some of it, like how this guy became just like a fan favorite, and they created like a whole backstory to this character. And
really?
for me, it just goes to show, like, people really appreciate it. I mean, he wasn't in those movies a lot, but again, so one of these characters, one of these actors that have such a presence, you're like, there's just something about him. He has that it thing.
Mhm.
So, Star Wars fans, they came out heavy to pay the tribute to him, and you see why. The guy, long career, doing a lot of stuff that maybe you haven't seen before. But look up his movieography. You'd be surprised some of the stuff that he's actually put out.
Yeah. Well, my condolences to everyone there. Rest in peace. Very sad. As we move on, one of the great actors in Hollywood, Michael Douglas, Wall Street, Romancing the Stone. He, of course, his last movie was Ant-Man 3, which kind of, maybe that's why he wanted to retire. He is retiring.
Big stinker to go out
from Hollywood. Michael Douglas. Rob, what do you think about Michael Douglas retiring? You think we'll see him again? Maybe in an Avengers pop-up, but from what I hear, he's gone. He's retired.
Honestly, as much as I hope so, I don't think so. This guy seems like he's at a point in his life where, he just wants to just live. He just wants to enjoy his family. I'm not sure how. I think he has one kid, a daughter, who's obviously an adult age and stuff. But you follow him, like, just check in, like, on Instagram, whatever, stuff like that. He just seems like he's about that life. So I think it reminds me a lot of, like, how when Sean Connery retired, he put out, his last movie was like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was like not good at all and stuff. And to be honest, that for me, I think with Sean, just like with Michael, with Ant-Man 3, he was like, you know what? This is telling me it's over. And, so he walks away, and honestly, he walks away just, I hope, with pride, because the Michael Douglas, I came up, following Michael Douglas because he was in a lot of these, like, sick movies, like in the 90s and stuff. I mean, I was just looking back and just top five. You mentioned Romancing the Stone, Fatal Attraction, Black Rain, which is actually a real, like, cult favorite of mine.
Falling Down.
I mean, come on. Falling Down's a classic. Basic Instinct, Ghosts and the Darkness. I mean, he put out movies out there that, it really captivates you. And man, I'm gonna miss him. Even with the Ant-Man turns and stuff. I mean, the first one was good, but anytime he was on screen, you're like, same thing, that gravitas, And I'm gonna miss him. I don't think he's coming back. I mean, but you know what? It's a good thing for him. Do you, buddy? You earned it.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think? Michael Douglas retiring? Think he might pop up in an Avengers movie?
No, I think, it's just like Sean Connery. So you get to a certain point in your career, and the amount of roles that are afforded to you drastically shrink just because of your age or whatever. Take a couple swings, some things don't really work out, and like Rob said, just go out with dignity and know that your body of work speaks for itself. Now, could we see him in some voiceover work for, like, another season of What If or some animated Marvel thing? Sure. Or he could do voiceover work for anything. So I think that possibility always exists, but I haven't really seen his Instagram. But if Rob's right, it's like, you can call it a day and it's all good, man. Like, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, enjoy it. I mean, the only thing I would say is Ant-Man 3 is not the best way to go out, but it wasn't the greatest movie to go out with, but he had a great career. So he should be happy with that, Wall Street and everything. So we'll see. Good luck to him retiring. Our next big thing actually is, and I don't know how it did it, but Jurassic World Rebirth opens to $313 million, crushing expectations, really big worldwide. Yes, but still, that's huge. Because it's could be $1 billion movie if at this pace. They're saying. Which, I'm kind of surprised with, but I'm not. I'm kind of torn in the middle because kids love this movie, and dinosaurs running around eating people. But, Dave, what do you think about this? The expectations is going through the roof with this budget. It's going crazy now to make money.
So we saw it over the weekend, and it was fine.
Okay.
The performances are all good. Casting is on point. Performances are good. I feel like somebody asked Mahershala Ali about Blade during the movie. I couldn't really hear what he was saying. But I'm not surprised. Like, it's the same kind of like, we have to go back to the park and get a thing. It's like another video game quest. but again, performances are good. There's some pretty good action set pieces, and it's very suspenseful. Like I was like, oh, I don't really know what's going to happen. Could the story have been better? Sure, but like I still paid, and we still went. So,
so you enjoyed it. You enjoyed
it was completely fun. Like I would watch it when it comes out on streaming. It's far from the worst one. And they're all pretty good.
Okay. Rob, what do you think about this crushing these 313 million worldwide expectations?
Look, dino power. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, you can't beat it. It's one of these like, franchises where it's like, you said to yourself, kids, dinosaurs, they just go together, and so for this being enjoying the success that it's getting, not all that surprised. I really expected this thing to do well. I mean, honestly, every single one of those movies has done well, and it's just like, as long as they just don't fall out of their formula, they could, make up whatever, like, side quests, to make a movie thing they want. But as long as dinosaurs are there and they give us at least something, an angle, a different dinosaur, maybe, I mean, it really doesn't take much, honestly. As long as the budget for the CGI is there and it doesn't look like, Nickelodeon cartoons, people are going to go watch this thing. And, I was just thinking that you got the star power. And also, I had to point out that I didn't realize it until recently that Gareth Edwards is the director. And for those that, might know who he is, this guy directed the first Godzilla movie. And his body of work, I mean, he's tailor-made for Jurassic Park. So I haven't seen it yet. David, you could test this, but I imagine that he really focused on the grand scale of these animals. So it's just supposed to be like, if you see it in the IMAX, you're like, whoa, I'm there. So they really did their homework as far as like the star power and the right person behind the camera to make it happen. It's a formula at this point, but it works. You can't hate it.
Yeah, I expect it to do really well. Like you said, it's going to do more money, and they're probably going to do what. Rob, would you take your kids to see that or no?
I don't know. I think that they're too young. The little one would have a great time, ironically. The older one, she'll just be like, no, too much happening. I got to get out of here.
Okay. Did you take someone else's kids to see it?
That's how that would work.
All right. Well, Jurassic World Rebirth. We'll see how it does. And now, finally, guys, we got this Friday. We got the Superman premiere that all three of us are going to be at. Looking forward to that. We're all going to meet up and everything. I wanted to get you guys. I've heard of the reviews already coming out, and it's been excellent. I know someone who saw it already, and he told me, and he texted me. He told me he said you three will love it. He says you guys are going to love it. He said that's what he told me. He goes, Cavill Superman is not the Superman.
Oh, really?
Over it.
Yeah. Okay. He said is not the Superman. And he told me, like he says, expect that you're gonna fall right into it. And he said James Gunn does what he does, like with Guardians of the Galaxy, when he brings people together. Like he can handle groups of people on the screen, and he says he does that really well. So he told me about that, guys. I mean, Dave, what do you expect out of this movie? You looking forward to it? Tell me about it.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. The one thing I saw was the leaked bad review, but apparently that was the same guy who thought Sinners wasn't good. So whatever.
Okay.
I have seen a bunch of the guys I watch on YouTube, like Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman. They both have their reviews out today, which I have not watched. I'm not going to watch anything until we see it. But most of what I've been able to ignore, but also see, is all very favorable.
Yes.
And I think there was a post today. So James Gunn is now the most successful comic book movie director of all time. But they were just basing that on the Rotten Tomato scores. But I think everything he has done has like an 85 or above. So
yes. And I think Superman was 91.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised he can bring everyone together. I mean, even Peacemaker, which isn't necessarily like there's not a team per se, but like there's a lot happening in that show. Suicide Squad, Guardians, like he's good at doing this.
Yeah, exactly. My friend told me, he says it's not like the original Superman's where you get an origin story. He says it goes.
Good. We don't need
it's going right into the action, and Superman's picking off right in the middle of his life. He's going and fighting. So that's something really good. Rob, what do you think about this with the Superman? You were looking forward to it on Friday?
100%. I'm looking forward to it. I like James Gunn a lot. I'm in the bag with a lot of his work. Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, he made something out of nothing, literally there. So he's got the talent to pull this off. I really think Dave Coruscant is going to knock this out of the park as Superman. The cast is solid. You know, my thing is that, you know, I'm just thinking back with the Superman movies that this is something so unlike what James Gunn has done up to this point. You know, because with Guardians of the Galaxy, he pretty much had, like, you know, full reign, but still stuck to the source material. You know, everything with, like, you know, Creature Commandos, all that stuff. It's like it's tailor made for his style. Superman kind of has his, you know, it's kind of like has its own rules in a way. You know, I mean, I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but I could appreciate, you know, the mythos of it. So I want to see what he does with this. He has kind of like not stay in the pocket per se. He's got to do his thing. You know, he's got to put his own stamp on this, you know, but at the same time, give us, like, you know, give us that Superman, the definitive Superman movie that I think a lot of fans are looking for. He has a great shot. He has all the tools, all the ingredients are there with the actors. Yeah, just, you know, I'm looking for a great ride. So, you know, I'm super excited for this weekend.
Yep. My friend Tommy says you will walk out of the theater. Can't wait to see what happens next with the Superman series and what the DCU has in store for the future, because it looks really bright. So wait and see on Friday. We'll have our out of theater review. We're going to be doing all that kind of stuff there. So that'll be pretty cool.
I'm glad that they keep talking about how he's not all powerful. They say depowered, which I think is just not, I don't think that's really accurate. I think he's been overpowered in a lot of film things going forward. And I kind of liken it to Iron Man 3, which isn't a terrible movie, but some of the most interesting parts of that is when Tony doesn't even have his suit. He just puts stuff together from Home Depot, right? Like, let's see what this guy's made out of. And I feel like that's what we're going to see with this.
All right. So, guys, we'll be posting stuff on Friday from the theater and stuff. So you guys will see that. All right. Let's go to our mailbag section. We got some mail questions that came in. A bunch of them that came in, actually. But I only took a few of them. Here we go. First one is from Rick from Morristown, New Jersey. He says, hello, movie brothers. Big Marvel fan, but also love DC. Any chance you would see a crossover movie, Wolverine versus Batman? No. All right, Dave, you want to take that? What do you think? You think we're going to get a crossover movie ever?
Well, okay, so I'm going to address the actual question. Would you see a crossover movie? Like, that's a dumb question, because of course I would see a crossover movie. After I put the pieces back in my brain about what's actually happening, I would say, yes, here's my money. Let me get a seat. Now, can it be done? Oh, I mean, listen, we think back to when we first opened up comic books in, like, the late 80s, early 90s or whatever. We didn't, like, Endgame we would never even have thought that we would get to something like that. So I think you can do it. The only thing that kind of worries me is, do we do it because the respective studios have kind of lost a little bit of steam and this is like the last big swing? Or can you make this a venture that's like, I don't think you're not going to outdo the Infinity Saga. And as much as I really like what James Gunn is doing so far, will it reach those heights? I have no idea. I really don't. But if you can figure out a way to, like, make this almost because I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine carries on a whole bunch, but it was good for what it was. If you can make something like that happen where it makes sense and, like, pleases a lot of people and tells a great story, why not? We got video games, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, 100%. Rob, do you think we're gonna have a crossover film down the road?
I seriously doubt it. As much as I would go see it, no. You know, Marvel it gives off a vibe where they're like their ego won't let them do it unless they are forced to do it. So, and I think that's really the reason why I would doubt anything like this would come about. I think James Gunn would be game to try and do this, but, you know, then it's like, okay, who's directing this thing? Who's producing? I mean, is it going to be Kevin and James, you know, working together? You know, I don't know. You know, did they, you know, leave off on bad terms? You know, when James left the Guardians franchise, who knows what backstories? You know, but it's just, for me, it's just too many hurdles, I think. Plus legal. I'm pretty sure there's some legal stuff that will stop them from moving forward with it. It's great idea, but Dave brings up a good point, because I think the last time I saw a crossover to, not even that this would be a high magnitude, but anything close to it was back when they had Freddy versus Jason. And at that point, both of those franchises were shot. They needed something. It was a fun movie, I guess, but at the same time, you're like, it's a gimmick. So that's not what we want. If you're gonna do something like this, you gotta be all in. You gotta be serious about it.
Okay, well, there we go. All right, next question here. Willie from New York. Hey, DC, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I heard another one is on the way. Do you like the direction they are going with the kids? Would you agree both new movies are Phoebe's journey?
I haven't heard much about the new, like, a solidified story for anything new coming up. I'm interested in the animated thing that's supposed to be slated on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anybody saw Extreme Ghostbusters, because that was, I think, aired for like 2 or 3 seasons in the late 90s.
I remember it, but I didn't watch it.
And Egon was the only carryover character.
Oh, okay.
But it was good. Like, give it to a new crew of people. Like, yeah, we all like these guys. We all like these guys. But like, we don't need to keep seeing them. Like, if ghosts exist and they have the equipment, and like, it's the information just keeps getting passed on. Like, awesome, great. I really liked what was the actress's name who played Phoebe? McKenna.
Okay, yeah.
McKenna Grace. I thought she was great. Like, she was believable in the role. She kind of embodied the Spengler spirit, so to speak. And yeah, just like, let's see something new. Like, I still maintain Ghostbusters 1, the real Ghostbusters, and everything else kind of comes after that. So let's just take a swing. Let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Rob, you like these Ghostbuster movies? You think they're good?
I do. You know what? If for anything, I've mentioned it a few times. Give us something new with the source material. Put your stamp on it. As long as you're faithful to the source material, go for it. The fact that they're making this a legacy thing, granted, it's not the most, like, maybe creative way to continue it, but it works. Afterlife, I really enjoyed Afterlife. Frozen Empire, I liked it too. So honestly, keep that momentum. You're not, to me at this point, Dave's right. The legacy of the original Ghostbusters from the original movie, it's secured. It's part of the mythos. It's part of the the legends. Now they're legend. Now, nothing you're gonna do now, short of like reimagining the original story, which we don't want to do, is going to tarnish that. So I love that they're actually going with a different type of, like, direction. Go for it. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see where they're going to go with this next.
Okay. All right. Tom from Pearl River, New Jersey. He says, hello, screenwriter Rob. I'm a screenwriter myself, and some people have been telling me that AI will be taking over all aspects of screenwriting. Do you see this happening?
No. For any serious screenwriters, Tom, speaking to you directly, brother, look, AI is a tool. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. The thing is that AI, I feel like there's some writers out there that think, I'm going to, get rich quick by using AI. Just give them like just a prompt. They'll spit out this whole thing. I touch it up so it's my little words, and boom, I'm going to be able to sell it. Sure. Yeah. If you think that's going to work, by all means, go for it. Okay. But I said it, I think, in the last show. AI, the best it could do right now is copy us. That's it. It doesn't have imagination. It doesn't have you. I told this once to another aspiring screenwriter that, for the most part, most story arcs in screenwriting, they've been told, but they haven't been told by you. That's what's going to make the difference, okay? Because how I tell my story is not going to be how you tell your story. AI is there, embrace it, especially if you're like not familiar with the format or how, the pacing of it. Use it. It's there. It's a powerful tool. Absolutely use it, but don't make it you, because you're the person that's going to make the story sell.
Okay. Dave, you got anything to add to that?
No, he's right. And it was interesting. I was listening to Rosenbaum's Inside of You podcast, and he had Josh Duhamel on yesterday. And they brought up the same exact question, like, what do you think about AI? And I think a lot of people in the industry kind of feel the same way, like, you're not going to be able to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it just becomes a tool. But how are you using that tool?
Mm-hmm.
I believe Rob's right. The real creativity, the emotional beats, like all the stuff that matters in good storytelling comes from us. You know, AI and everything we get from like ChatGPT, it's only as good as the stuff that we feed into it. So
Mm-hmm.
when you go to ChatGPT to like explain a thing to you, like you're going to get an answer based on real information and a bunch of nonsense misinformation. So we're just not there. I don't think it ever takes over. And if it gets to the point where it can actually be imaginative, then it's Skynet and we're done anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Bobby from Eastern PA. He says, dude, if you guys could have one superpower from any comic book character, what would it be? Dave, what superpower would you want from one comic book character?
To bounce back from bad box office.
Yeah, that's asking a lot. That's a strong superpower.
I don't know. Probably flight.
I think so too. Flight.
Sometimes I'm just over traffic.
Yeah.
Now the problem is like I would love the ability to fly, but I'd also need a little bit of super strength if I want to like carry somebody with me to where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of
Yeah. What about you, Rob? Is there a superpower? You kind of.
It's no surprise. I would love to be Spider-Man. Like I love to climb skyscrapers. Have the intelligence to create web shooters and swing around New York City. For me, it's such a combination. Okay, flight is cool, which I admit I would be okay with flight, but man, just swinging around. It's just something about it's such a roller coaster kind of vibe to it, which I love roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's maybe just a biases because that's my favorite superhero. But I would love to be, have Spider-Man's power and intellect, and just do some web swinging one day.
Yeah, mine would be fun.
Yeah.
Also. I was going to ask you, out of the four of the Fantastic Four, those four, which superpower do you like the most?
Ooh.
Those four. I think for me, be invisible, because that would be something. I'd be hanging out in a woman's bathroom all day.
Creeper.
Well, you guys remember Mallrats when he's asking Stan Lee?
Oh, yes.
When he's asking about.
Oh
Mr.
my God! Yes, Mr. Fantastic. He made some really good points. You gotta admit that.
Mr. Fantastic. Yes, his stretch ability. That's a really good point. Yeah, very good point.
Yes.
All right. So let's go to I guess finally now we have the name that movie part of the show. All right, guys. So this one is an 80s movie that I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to show you guys the actors. It's from an 80s movie. All right. Let me see if I can give any more clues. Just 80s movie. Actually, I didn't even know the year offhand. I forgot.
Really narrows it down.
C. Thomas Howell. C. Thomas Howell.
Was this a popular movie?
Yes, and they did a remake too of it.
Huh.
Any guesses?
I got nothing.
All right. Leah Thompson.
Oh God.
Okay. Leah Thompson.
It's not Howard the Duck, is it? Because that's the only other thing I know her from outside of Back to the Future.
No.
That's a great guess. Actually.
I got two more actors here. Patrick Swayze. Think of Patrick Swayze.
I mean, Roadhouse. What we got?
Patrick Swayze. I'm going to give you another clue. Kids.
Hey, kid. Whoa.
Fighting.
Come on, Dave. You know these obscure movies. Come on.
The last character is Charlie Sheen. Group of kids. Charlie Sheen, Patrick Swayze, Leah Thompson, C. Thomas Howell. Kids, I'll give you another. Wolverine. Wolverines.
Oh,
Wolverines.
This is like a hockey movie.
No. No, Wolverines. The answer is.
Oh wait, I was just gonna say it. I swear to God, I just was gonna say it.
You were gonna say it, Red Dawn.
I was literally gonna say it. I'm like, oh wait a minute, that's the what?
Red Dawn. Yes, remember that movie, Red Dawn? They did a remake about it too. Red Dawn. Yes, that was really good.
I had no idea she was in that.
Me either. I was like, oh my God, seeing
like outside of Back to the Future and Howard the Duck, and was she in that Spin City show with Michael J. Fox?
Yes, she was.
I don't know her from anything.
Yeah, and C. Thomas Howell, I only know him from like E.T. I think he was in, right? Or E.T. No, Pony Boy. What is that movie? When he played Outsiders, right? C. Thomas Howell. Yeah. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Good call. Got close. Not bad. So, guys, we will be on the site on Friday. We'll be doing the Superman out of theater review. We will be there doing a little bit of a B-roll and stuff, but we'll be at the premiere this Friday. So you guys will see some posts coming up. So look forward to it, guys. We'll be there. So I'll see you guys on Friday, brother. Yep. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. All right.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.